The Auburn Tigers are going back to the Final Four.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into this special, so special edition of Locked On Auburn. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby. Darrell, Dapprich, Montgomery radio legend, Auburn Met Sports legend, Kyle Rush, making a surprise last-second appearance. Guys, let's just all say it together. Auburn is going back to the Final Four.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I got goosebumps. Goosebumps.
Oh, my goodness. In a game that turned into like a situation where Auburn was going to have to survive with something clearly wrong with Janai's arm. They kept talking about how it was like a leg injury or whatever, but he kept grabbing his ankle, his elbow. But thank goodness Auburn got a lead, and thank goodness they had different guys step up at different moments to hold on. But Auburn, to me, they solidified the greatest season in Auburn basketball history just now. Like, there's no debate up to this point, regardless of what happens moving forward, whatever happens with Florida, whatever happens potentially against Duke or Houston. Auburn's going back to the Final Four for the second time in 6 seasons, guys, and they'll do it. I think they'll have a really solid chance against Florida in San Antonio.
Well, that's the key. First of all, it does solidify it's the greatest season in Auburn basketball season in history, because the 2019 team struggled a little bit during the regular season. I mean, they were a 4 seed late in the year. It was even a question if they were getting the tournament, and then they got hot. This team has dominated out of the gate, was number 1 for a record, 7-8 weeks, had one of the most quad wins in the history of college basketball, then topped that off with a Final Four appearance. So there's no debate. And I'm ready to go ahead and say what you've been saying for the whole year, Zach. Janai Broom's the greatest basketball player in Auburn basketball history.
Yes, build the statue. Build the statue. Coming out of the locker room, getting a big defensive rebound, and then going down and hitting a 3 with one arm. What a legend. What an absolute legend.
What a moment. I will remember that moment for forever.
Forever. And as a person who hates Janai shooting threes, he shot 2 tonight, and I was cheering for both because for whatever reason, just felt like they were going in. It was a Janai Broom night, man.
The aura, I think is what the kids call it. The aura when he was returning back to the floor, it was electric. It was electric. Janai Broom, 25 points, 10 of 13 from the floor, 2 of 2 from 3.
Like a Marvel movie.
14 rebounds. Yeah, Marvel may have Thor, the Hulk, or whatever. We've got Janai Broom. And now he's got to get healthy by Saturday for Auburn to have a shot against Florida. You need as healthy as possible Janai Broom. But, oh, my goodness, the Tigers are cutting down the nets.
Well, and I'm going to say this. I don't know how late they decide the National Player of the Year stuff. But if that doesn't prove it, when Cooper Flagg goes out and gets a pedestrian 10 points against one of the worst defensive teams in the tournament and looks like the moment's too big, and Broom on one leg, one ankle, one shoulder, one elbow, probably had an eye patch on coming out of the locker room with one eye, drops that on Michigan State, who's a good defensive basketball team. They ain't no slouch.
No.
I mean, that's secondary. I get it, because the most important thing right now is that Auburn's going to the Final Four. And I'm going to say this. I don't know how you guys feel about it, and maybe I'm just wired a little bit differently. When Auburn went in 2019, we were just happy to get there. This team does not need to go, we're in the Final Four. They need to think we're winning it all. Because with Chuma Akiki, and if not for getting absolutely screwed by an official that was an idiot, Auburn wins the title in 2010. That needs to be the mindset this weekend, is just don't be happy with getting there. We want to win it and rectify what happened 5 years ago or 6 years ago.
I love that it's 4-1 seeds, because I think it kind of solidifies the storyline that's happened all throughout this year of college basketball. Like the cream of the crop of college basketball all season has been elite. Sure, the top 25 teams are better than they typically are, but the 4-1 seeds going into the tournament, when you look at the analytics, they were just so historically better than they ever have been. Just to have 4 teams that are that much better and that truly elite. I'm a fan of March Madness not having as many upsets as normal, because what we just watched this past weekend, not just Auburn games, but all of these games. I mean, if you care, I don't even care if you're a college basketball fan. If you're just a fan of sports and competition and drama and just overall entertainment, what we just saw was incredible. What we're going to see in San Antonio is going to be special. And I'm so stoked that Auburn's going to be a part of that.
Just piggybacking off of Darrell earlier and talking about this team, man, you run through the toughest SEC, maybe the toughest conference that's ever been, and now you're going to the Final Four with 4 1 seeds. And I think all of the Final Four was like 1 versus 2 or 1 versus 3, like just crazy competition.
Yeah.
And the Tigers just figure out a way to win, even when Janai gets injured and you got the where he could have broken his knee, his elbow, and his wrist all in one play. When he was out, Auburn might have played their best stretch of basketball, like, believe it or not. Like they hung in there when probably everybody was ready for the collapse to happen. They hung in there. Dylan Cardwell, give the dude his flowers. The dude I would love to know what his plus minus is over the tournament. It was plus 41 going into this game. He affects the game in ways that, for whatever reason, don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet.
He was
unbelievable
+1 today.
What was that?
He was just +1 today.
Yeah, that's plus. You know what? Plus minus is overrated. That kid is unreal.
I mean, a different situation with. I mean, his role changed when Janai became questionable and missed time. So that's part of it too.
Well, I think too. I'll be honest. At the beginning of the year, when I kind of heard some rumblings about them starting Dylan and Janai together, I wasn't for it. I didn't like it. I was like, I want Chaney to emerge as that 4, and give Bruce Pearl and his staff credit, because it worked. It was successful. It was an absolute great combination. The chemistry, the way that the interchangeable parts, for some reason, getting Broom to the 4 freed him up. I mean, he was good last year and he was good the year before. But he was nothing. I mean, this year he's the National Player of the Year. And I think a lot of that has to do with the flexibility of him able to play the 4 instead of the 5 and getting banged on all freaking game.
I agree with that. I agree with that for sure. So one thing I'm going to ask you guys in just a second, and while we're doing this this read, drop who you think your player of the game is. I don't know who the argument is outside of Janai Broom, so let me know if you have one. I'd love to hear it. But all that's coming up in just a moment, right here on the special live edition of Locked On Auburn. Auburn's going to the Final Four. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's America's #1 sportsbook. Guys, can you imagine wagering on sports anywhere other than with our friends at FanDuel?
It's tough. Could you imagine how nervous you were wagering on this game if it was more than just your team winning, right?
Yeah, 5.5 though. Good teams win, great teams cover, baby. Let's go.
I hit a massive parlay with FanDuel today, so I'm fired.
Did you?
I'm pretty fired up. Great day. Just
congratulations.
Exponential.
Congratulations. Y'all want to guess what the line is? Have y'all seen it? Y'all
seen it? Florida.
You want to guess?
Auburn by 2.
No, I'm gonna say plus 2.5.
Yeah, Florida's favored by 2.5. Yep.
Wow. Good. Yep. Good. Use it.
Yep. So if you feel like, hey, Auburn's going to take care of business in the first of 2 games on Saturday for the Final Four, head over to FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to bet on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. So visit FanDuel.com to get in on the college hoops action. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. I mean, what Janai Broom did today, I mean, he continues to just find ways to impress people. I mean, the way they started the game, I think it was 3 straight just isolation plays to get him, back to basket.
He was 5 of 5 to start the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, there you go. There you go. And then finishing, 10 of 13 from the floor. I mean, I don't think he's going to get National Player of the Year just because of when the voting ended, but I don't care. I don't care. I'm glad we've got Janai Broom, and as far as I'm concerned, he's the best player in college basketball.
He, without a doubt. I mean, continue to look at what he does against the competition, man. And he's had those games where he's had volume points where he scored a lot, but he's shot a lot. Tonight he was efficient. Like there hasn't been one of those nights in a while where he was just efficient. Like if you got him the ball, you knew there was a good chance that he was going to score.
Yeah.
And we needed to see that. He kind of he elevated his game, especially at the beginning of the game, where it's just like, they're not going to stop me. You give me the ball inside, I'm going to score. And he did it. It was just, I'm telling you, just build the statue. Just go ahead and do it. Build the statue.
It's why I always feel like going out to that kind of lead that Auburn did and Janai getting out to that kind of start is so underrated, because at the end of the game, look at how much Auburn needed that. Right? I mean, I get it. People are like, oh, it was a 23-8 lead, and Auburn needed every bit of that 15-point lead. And now if they hit free throws late, don't throw the ball around, they got a little bit skittish there with them under a minute and a half to go. If they don't do that, they end up winning 15 or 16. I get it. But those points you bank early and the way Broome played early, and I'm just wondering why some people in the chat are just assuming he's not playing for, Saturday. I saw the x-rays.
Make him understand.
The MRI, I don't know.
Saying Janai's not going to play Saturday?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, the x-rays came back negative, but wait till the MRI. We'll see. I mean, if he came back and played in this game, yeah, it'll be more sore tomorrow. But you also have, 6 days of treatment and needles and injections. He'll play Saturday.
Make him understand.
Yeah.
That's a little varsity.
Is there an argument for anybody else for player of the game? I mean, nobody else. Well, Tahad scored 10, but like nobody else scored more than 10 points other than Janai Broome.
Chaney was underrated when he came in during that stretch when Janai went to the locker room.
Yeah,
I think that he really kind of stepped up, which he's done. When Jay Will went out last year and Broome went out this year, he's played his best basketball. That continued when the lights were the brightest. So I want to give him his props for that as well.
Yeah, I want to give some props to Miles right before I jump off, because I'm going to Tumors. I'm going to go party. Let's go.
Good for you.
Miles Kelly, when he is cold, like most players that are lead scorers, guys that are like, I'm a bucket getter. When they can't score, they poke their lip out, they pout, they do that. They take me out of the game, give me more shots. This dude just goes up and gets big freaking rebounds in crunch time. 6 rebounds, plays incredible defense. Big shout out to Miles Kelly. He has been super cold the last 3 games, but he still does the dirty work, and he is a massive reason why this defense swarms the way they do. His length is frustrating, and he uses it. And he's not just a one-tool player. He's not just a finesse player. The dude is a baller. Big game from Miles Kelly doing the dirty work. War Eagle guys, Final Four. I got to get out of here.
Let's go.
Love you guys. War Eagle.
Let's go.
I'd be joining them if I was in Auburn. That would be that's where I'd be after we got off of this broadcast. I can assure you.
Yeah. No. So the chat is also making a case for Dylan Cardwell, and he certainly deserves to be mentioned, what he does defensively. Well, and then he had some offensive moments as well, and his role changed a little bit, obviously, when Janai was questionable and if he'd come back or not. So obviously an incredible performance from Dylan Cardwell, an incredible weekend from Dylan. Maybe the best weekend of college basketball for Dylan Cardwell, and he's played a lot of them.
Absolutely.
That's fair.
How telling is that the kid plays 5 years. He's the spiritual leader of the team. He's the glue of the team, and he plays his best basketball when it's the biggest time of the year. I mean, when Auburn needed him to get to the Elite Eight, to get to the Final Four, he played his best basketball. And I'm so happy for that kid. I mean, again, look, this team and what happened with some of the last 2 or 3 years in Auburn athletics.
Yeah, this
team just has really, really washed that away and has been medicine for the Auburn fan base. And I think that's why this is so historical. And this is why not only the way this regular season went and all the teams they waxed that were quad ones and then winning the best conference in America with 2 games left to play, they made it to the Final Four. And now they're the only team from the state that's gone to multiple Final Fours.
I guess that's true. Let's just stop just for a second, and we probably should have done this at the beginning. Auburn basketball is going to the Final Four for the second time in 6 years. I mean, let's just really digest and chew on that for a second. I think this does a lot of things. One, I think it kind of puts to bed this whole like flash in the pan argument. Like Auburn's here to stay. Auburn's not going anywhere. I also think it adds even more credibility. Not that I think he needed it, but I think other people outside of maybe the Auburn or SEC sphere needed it to Bruce Pearl, where you haven't made it past the first weekend since you did the Final Four run in 2019. Can't say that anymore. You've been to 2. Not many coaches can say they've been to 2 Final Fours in the span of 6 years. Not many at all, Darrell.
No, that's a great point, because there was that monkey on his back that after that happened in 19.
Yeah, so you're going to do it again?
And
you do it again?
And the tournament got canceled in 20 when Auburn was really peaking at the right time. Right. It was like 1 and done or 2 and done. Was it a flash in the pan? You have great regular. I mean, Auburn's hung 3 banners since that happened. You know, since 2019 happened, they've hung 2 regular season banners and another SEC tournament banner.
Yeah.
And now, you know, that wasn't enough. You know, you get defined by what you do in the tournament. Well, oh, by the way, and I'm not saying this to throw shade at anybody else. I'm just saying that this state has become a significant basketball state the last 4 or 5 years. And for Auburn to go to 2 to be the first team to go to a Final Four in 19 and now be the first team to go to multiple Final Fours is very, very significant. And it comes during a time when Alabama's really good. They ain't facing Avery Johnson, and Tennessee's really good, and Florida's really good, and Kentucky. I mean, my goodness, this isn't the SEC when it sucked, and you're doing this, right? You're doing it at the most elite time of basketball performance in the conference, okay? That speaks volumes. And anybody that ever says anything about Bruce Pearl needs to have their head examined after this. I don't care what he's had to overcome. Broom being out for a few games, manage the Chad Baker-Mazzara thing. There's a lot of things he had to manage, and he did. He did a great job. And like I just said, I think this team needs to think, okay, we're not done. We're, you know, no deep breath, no happy just to be here. We're not satisfied unless we win.
Auburn has reached the status where they deserve it. They deserve it. It wasn't getting hot at the right time. It was, hey, we're like one of the best teams in college basketball. We've got the best resume in college basketball. And what was the discussion after the bracket dropped? And everybody's like doing their predictions. And everybody said, well, Auburn will be the first 1 seed out. Or like Auburn was the most like doubted overall number 1 seed like that I've ever seen since I started watching the tournament. Like nobody gave them any credit whatsoever. It's like, oh, watch out. They may have to play Louisville in the second round, an hour away from their place. That's going to be trouble. Everybody's going to pick Louisville over Auburn. Okay, well, it's Creighton. Creighton's good too, and they take care of Creighton. Well, Michigan, they've got 7-footers. Watch out. Michigan's going to sneak up on them. Didn't hear a whole lot of negative stuff after that game going into Michigan State, but it's just everybody has chosen to doubt this team when they've been given the opportunity to do so. And the beautiful thing about what Bruce Pearl has done culturally with these guys is these guys don't care. They don't care in the sense that it's going to impact them negatively. I think they use it as fuel to some extent, but they know, because Bruce Pearl's told them a million times, like they know that if they go out and play 90% of what they're capable of doing for 30 minutes of the 40 minutes of action, they will beat pretty much everybody, but maybe the 3 teams remaining in all of college basketball. Now they need to put together a full game. They're going to need to put together 2 good halves to beat Florida and then to beat either Houston or Duke. They've already beaten Houston. Surely they could do it again, but it's just an incredible, incredible team. And it's just so exciting, the path that it took for them to get here.
And let's not just blame the national media. I'm going to say this right now. It's not going to be popular, but it's happening right now in this chat. Some of our fan base has also been negative Nellies and doubted Auburn and predicted they were going to get beat. And, oh, my God, the end of the world's happening. We're playing Louisville. And in this chat right now, comments like they could still be the first number 1 seed to go out. And he shot free throws with 1 arm. Can we just not relax and enjoy this and quit with the negative crap? It's bad enough that the jacklegs of the national media or other fan bases do it. Our fan base doesn't need to do it. Enjoy it. Embrace it. Wash yourself in it.
Here, and for the folks who want to hear it, I'll just say it again. Auburn's going to the Final Four for the second time in 6 years.
I mean, what could you
say it? I want to
from
hear
that?
you say it. You say it. I want to hear you say it.
Auburn is going to another Final Four for the second time in 6 years. And you know what? Let me say this. I'm going to say 5 years because I ain't counting the COVID year. We didn't play basketball that year.
Okay.
So in 5 basketball seasons, yes, Auburn's gone twice, right? Am I right?
5 tournaments. Sure.
5 tournaments. Let's throw away 6 years. 5 tournaments, 2 out of 5. 40%, baby. Call me Galileo. I know my math.
Oh, my goodness. It's so good. It's so fun. It's so fun. And the way that they've won a lot of these tournament games is a little different. Like some of it's been like today was a battle. Today was a situation where like, thank goodness you got hot early and thank goodness you did enough, especially like when Janai missed that extended period of time where like you kind of planted your feet and held your ground to when he came back and was able to help and contributing to holding them off at the end. And then they've got moments where they got hot. They've had moments where it was a battle, then they got hot at the end. Like it's been fun to see them win in different ways, which is kind of why I thought this team was so good and was shocked at how many people were picking them to lose early in the tournament. It's because they've proven time and time again that they can win the battle that's sluggish, where it looks like they're playing in a swamp. And then also when it's just everybody can't miss a thing, like they've proven that they can win in whatever way you hand it to them. So I love that. And I love that going into San Antonio.
No, that's a great point. We talked about 3 or 4 games in. Let's be honest, Auburn's defense is pretty special, pretty elite. And they're going to have to win some ugly games where it's in the 60s or in the 50s when they're not shooting well. And again, I was, I think, almost in a coma by the time the game ended. I was so nervous. And so into what was the final score? I know Auburn won 6. Was it
70-64?
Okay, so Auburn holds them under 65. I mean, that's pretty important.
They held every tournament team under 70, right?
And yeah, and this is the first time they didn't win by double digits in the tournament too, by the way.
That's true.
Which is pretty impressive.
True.
The Tennessee game early in the year when it was in the 50s. I mean, they can D you up. They can D you up and say, okay, you want to play a slow-paced in the 60s game and not go up and down the court, we can do that. And I do want to see them hit free throws at crunch time. And I will say this, there was a narrative out there that I bought into, and I said it. I put it out on X. Michigan State had a tendency to shoot double the free throws than their opponents did. And I said, if that happens, Auburn's going to struggle to win. And Michigan State shot, I think, total attempts, maybe not because they fouled Auburn late with under a minute to go, but there was one point, Zach, with about 2 minutes to go, and it was like 14-8 with free throws or 14-6. Auburn caught up, I think, because Michigan State had to foul to try to get back in the game, and Michigan State out-rebounded Auburn, and Auburn still won. At some point, though, if Auburn wants to win the Natty, they're going to have to hit the free throws with under a minute to go. They're going to have to. Especially with the way Florida and Clayton can come back at any time and the way Duke plays. So, you know, that's trouble for another day. That's something but it's not something you can coach, teach, whatever. You just do it or you don't.
Yeah. Yeah. What a win, man. What a
win. Think about that. Michigan State, like, didn't miss free throws, out-rebounded Auburn, and Auburn still won the game and hit some threes.
They're an Izzo coach team. Like, they're solid.
The 3 that cut it to 6, that like I was like, clank, Auburn's going to get a rebound and like hit the back of the rim, hit the backboard and went in. I'm like, are you kidding me? But I love what Kyle said earlier too. Miles Kelly got one big rebound and one big tie up late in that game that kind of got some separation and let people breathe a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could say the same about Denver as well. Like when he's having off night shooting, it doesn't impact his willingness to, you know, attack the basket as well as to, you know, lock down somebody on defense. So I think that kind of goes into the culture of it. And I guess you could say the same about Chad Baker-Mazara. I mean, I keep almost expecting Pearl to limit him. I mean, Chad does some weird stuff on offense, and it's usually earlier in the game, but it's just like, what are you doing? and he takes bad shots, and it's like, okay, like what exactly like is the big picture thing here when you talk about CBM? But what he does defensively, it's like, yeah, he went 2 for 10. He scored 6 points, shot 8 threes. Like, okay. I don't know if tonight's the night for you to do that, Chad, but like, okay, that's fine. Like, you're trying to shoot yourself into the game. Like, all
right, he still always makes big baskets. They always see the basket he made. Sure. That's fine. You know, they cut it to 8. Right. He made that basket to get. It's just like the moments of the game when he does hit them. But yeah, he does have to.
But on defense, like, he's annoying to go up against because he's annoying. So period. Long.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that he. Well, I'm just saying he is. I mean, he's a pest, and you want to have that on your team. I do. Yeah, I would like to see him late in the game get into the shot clock a little bit later. He went down 2 consecutive possessions and shot the ball, I think, too quickly. All you got to do is run clock there, and you win the game. I mean, Michigan State's not going to get 4 baskets in 1:11 if you manage the clock.
Yeah, correctly. Unless you got to help them. If they do,
you got to help them.
You got to help them, right?
Yeah,
right.
So I look again. We could nitpick all day, but in the last 5 years, Auburn's been to 2 Final Fours, and this team, with the pressure that was just ungodly on their back. And look, it's one thing to sneak up on somebody, get to the Final Four, get hot when you're a 4 seed. Yeah. But when you're ranked number 1 for as long as Auburn was, when you're the number 1 overall seed in the tournament, there's a bullseye on your back, and there's some inherent pressure that it's like a failure if you don't make it to the Final Four. And the fact that this Final Four is chalk is unbelievable to me. And the last time, I believe, Zach, that there were 4, and guess where the Final Four was played?
Was it San Antonio?
Yep.
Interesting.
And I'm going to say one other thing here.
Did the number 1 overall seed win?
I don't remember that. I don't remember that. You're asking me to really go deep into my math mind now. But I will say this.
Can I tell you a funny story real quick about the 08 tournament?
And then I got one for you. Go ahead.
That was the first time I ever filled out a bracket. And I put all 1 seeds in there. And they went. And I was like, I remember talking crap to my dad, like, this is easy. Why do people struggle with this? Picking the Final Four. What do you mean? But I picked all 1 seeds. I got every Elite 8 team right and every Final Four team right.
I got every Elite 8 team, but not St. John's. St. John's was the one I didn't get right. But my Final Four is intact. I'll just say this. I made a joke about this on X a week and a half ago. You know where I'm from. I'm from Pittsburgh, and I don't tend to get back home that often. And the last time I went home was 2019, right when the NCAA tournament started. It was the last time I was in Pittsburgh until this year when I went back to Pittsburgh right when the NCAA tournament started. So I think
sounds like you're going to Pittsburgh every March now.
There's a trend. I think I'm gonna have to just take one for the team and do that. But yeah, it's funny. I was joking with all my family. I was like, well, the last time I was here, Auburn went to the Final Four, and I'm doing shows with you from the basement that Joe Pesci got whacked in Goodfellas, but I think it was good luck.
Because now, because of that story, we've been to the Final Four twice now.
5 years, 5 tournaments.
Which is insane.
5
which
tournaments.
Is insane.
Yeah.
And there are people pushing back on that. It's like, that's like an eternity. Like, no, it's not. Promise.
No, I tell you, you think about it, because there was that year that Auburn struggled when we played with no people in the arena. And, and then they came back that next year with Kessler and Jabari, and man, I thought that team was something special. And then the year me and you started doing it together, when we had so many heartbreaking losses, but we upset Iowa in the first round and then lost to Houston after being up big at halftime. Right. And then, of course, the fiasco, which I don't want to hear. Anytime somebody says Yale, say 2 Final Fours. Yeah. That trumps that out. That mutes that like something on your cell phone.
I mean, I really think this is like a program-altering thing. I mean, you've been to multiple Final Fours with your current head coach. Like, that's a big deal, Darrell.
It is a big deal. And it's for anybody that really doesn't love or follow college basketball for a long time. When you realize you have a team that has been in the desert for so long, has only shown a little bit of moderate success, teams like Duke and North Carolina and Connecticut and Villanova, those are the kind of teams that are used to being in multiple Final Fours within 5 tournaments.
Right.
So don't take it for granted. It's a big deal. And Bruce Pearl at Tennessee had a really good chance in 2010 to go to the Final Four and was up 1 at the free throw line late and lost to Tom Izzo in Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet for him.
Yep. Did he lose to Tom Izzo today?
He did not.
He didn't.
And I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
If not for Tom Izzo, that game's probably 18. He's a heck of a coach, and whatever some of the things he did strategically, defensively. I will say too, Michigan State's depth. This is the first time in the tournament their depth didn't come in handy because they came back against some teams late because depth was a key factor. It did not matter in this game, and a lot of it had to do that Auburn had a nice lead to pad that with. But my gosh, do they have some depth? And he's a good coach. Kudos to him.
That's great.
That game is probably not as close without another coach. He knows how to coach his boys in the NCAA tournament.
He does. Yeah. No, what's the meme? Like January, February, Izzo, April. Like,
yes, that's exactly right.
He's right. He's always winning in March for sure. But then today, thank goodness, Auburn goes to their second Final Four in the program history and the second Final Four in the last 6 seasons, or as Darrell has been pointing out, the last 5 tournaments, which I love. Over 2,000 folks celebrating with us today. Thank you guys so much. Please like the live stream. Please like the video. And if you're tuning in on audio, please subscribe and leave us a review. It helps the show out a ton. Darrell, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
After I take high blood pressure medicine, you can check me out at DAP6410. My face is a little red, is it not? It looks like I've been in the sun, dude.
What a past few hours.
DAP6410, Instagram Darrell Dap, and then, man, are we going to have fun all week? I know on your show with your guests, this is going to be a really special week.
That's
Embrace it and enjoy it, Auburn fans. You've earned it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's say it all together again. The Auburn Tigers are going back to the Final Four. Please like the video. Once again, helps the show out a ton. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.